Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in again. Now today we're going to get a bit healthy. Let's get started with a Fitbit. So what I have here is a Fitbit Charge 2. That's obviously a device by Fitbit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get that device set up here. We're going to get it integrated with our iPhone just as a basis. And then I'm going to show you how to use just some of the basic functions of this device. And then from there, I'm going to show you in future videos how to integrate it within your home. Let's get going. Well, let's get started looking at this device. Right off the bat, you can see it's a pretty small watch here, actually. There's nothing major to it. It's not very thick. And even the screen itself is quite small. Looking at the device, it's quite sleek as well. Now, it should be noted that I have a different band on here than comes with the device. I actually bought this aftermarket. It was about $10 whole off of Amazon. But you can see on the back there, there's the little sensors for your heart rate. Those are quite interesting as well. Now, there's one little button on the side, and there is a tap function as well that you can actually tap on the device or actually on top on your wristband. So it just seems to react to the vibration or a little bit of momentum. So the tap functions are actually pretty impressive. I really like that you can tap on the top or on the screen itself. It seems to respond pretty well. Let's have a look at the charger. Now the charger itself is actually pretty slick as well. It just basically is a clip that you put over top and then you remove it when you're done and you're just plugging it into a USB port there. So let's move on to setup here. We're going to just jump into the Fitbit app, which you can download for iOS or for an Android device. Now we're setting up a Charge 2 today, so that's what you're looking at. And all you have to do, tap at the bottom there, and they're really just going to go through a very few kind of personal traits here. So you got to tell them your height, your gender, your weight, and your birth date. And then you're ready to move on to creating an account with Fitbit. So they want you to turn on Bluetooth, and that's basically the way you communicate with the watch thereafter. So once you turn on Bluetooth on your phone, I can tell you from then on, you're pretty much going to leave Bluetooth on anytime you're wearing your Fitbit. So that's actually the first thing I've really found with my iPhone that has caused me to want to keep on Bluetooth. So it's a simple pairing process. The number actually shows up on your Fitbit Charge 2. You just have to type in that number, and then you get this little message here where it says to pair. And then, of course, like most of these home automation devices, you get the request to actually update. So now once the update is complete, you end up on this screen here, which is your main interface for the rest of the time here on the iPhone app. So starting out, what you can see right at the top, you can see your actual device in the top left, but moving down from there, you can see your number of steps, the number of floors you've gone. It's basically an up, and then the number of kilometers you've walked and how many calories you have for the day, and then your minutes of activity there. And then as we scroll down in the application, you actually see the different things you can track. So there's the capability to track exercise, your sleep. They want you to track how much you're moving each hour instead of being stagnant. They actually give you a little goal there to be active every hour, at least a little bit. It also shows your heart rate monitor, which we saw on the back of the watch. And then moving down again, you have your weight tracking, your water tracking, and your food tracking. Now you can always remove items from this interface if you'd like, but I just kept them all on there right off the bat here just to kind of learn the interface. You can see there's a little man there in a circular graphic there just below our calorie count and everything. It says set goals. So we're just going to tap on that and let's get started on setting some goals. So for me, hey, I'd like to improve my sleep, so I'm going to go ahead and tap on that. And I like that it asks you, why is sleep important to you? Well, because I like sleep. That's pretty simple. But anyways, once you've answered those 3 questions, they give you 3 recommended goals. So the first one they gave me here was a sleep goal for each night of the week. And here's a couple more that they're giving you here right off the bat. So they kind of want to keep you active and keep you moving, basically, just to help out. So they want to give you a step goal. I set it at 8,000 at the start. I've actually found that really easy to hit, but you can increase it later. So now they want you to set an exercise goal, which is how many days a week you're going to have 30 minutes of activity. I've set that for 4. Inside the interface, like I said, there's a number of different sections. So the first one we're going to go into is the track exercise. Now in here, if I had any activity, this would be showing up here, how my exercise activity was going, and then I'd see a bunch of other information. Now I'm going to show you this later in the video when I show you kind of what's happened after my first couple of days. The other thing that's very interesting here, and this starts to talk about some of the integration that you have. If you're a runner, you can actually start music control when you start a run. So you can actually use your iPhone's Apple Music there to actually play some music. So that's very interesting. I love that kind of integration with your iPhone. And it's not something I do. I'm not a big runner, but if I'm working out in the gym, I can definitely use that. So now let's go into the sleep stages side of thing here. Now this is actually one of my favorite parts of the device because it actually does track how you're sleeping and give you some statistics. Now, as I said, I'll show you again here when we get later into the video. I'll show you what those charts look like in the sleep function. Here we're going to move into the little guy here where it says, are you moving each hour? We're going to head in there. They want you to get moving every hour. They want you to at least take 250 steps every hour. So they're giving you a little reason why here. They could give you reminders if you want. I didn't ask for that. So in the hours of 9 to 5, basically, did you move 250 steps each hour? So that's what Fitbit's asking you to do here. This is one of my goals from the start there. Now, moving into the heart rate section, obviously I don't have any heart rate data here, but later this is all filled up and showing you when you're in your cardio zone or your fat burn zone or just kind of sedentary there. So, and then what it will do is give you a cardio fitness level just from your resting heart rate, actually. Now here's the weight summary, so you can actually go in there and see how you've tracked on there. Obviously, if you have the Fitbit Area scale, ARIA, that's going to be a lot more interactive for you. Then there's the water section here. We're just going to jump in there. What I do like about the water section is it's just simple to tap. If you've had a cup of water, you can just tap that really quickly and it shows up here. It's easy to log. It doesn't take a long time. So I like that. Now, moving over to the food section, this is actually the part of the device that's the hardest to work with, I found. It should be noted that some foods that you're going to eat are not going to show up here, especially with the fact that there's so many new foods coming out on the market. I think Fitbit's having trouble keeping up with all of those. There's a lot of different marketplaces, but in general, I would say if you're having a food that's coming out of a supermarket or a larger grocery store, you're going to find it in here. It just might take you a little time. So you just tap in the plus and you can go searching. The thing I like the best about this is actually you can scan UPS codes, which is in the top right there. So that's actually my favorite thing. I was able to find some things that I'd had in a restaurant earlier in the day, and then you can set what meal or if you're having it at a snack time, you can set how big the serving size is. So this is a lot like MyFitnessPal. So there, we're kind of done. Like I said, you can customize this. So if you just hold on one of the icons, you can actually start deleting ones if there's certain things you don't want to track. But now let's go to the top left here. We're actually just going to tap on the Fitbit Charge 2 that's shown up in the top left there. Here's a number of settings that you can actually adjust. So you can change which hand you're wearing it on or which wrist you're wearing it on. You can change the clock face, which I did right away. There were some different ones that I liked a lot better. You can also change some of your alarms, your notifications, etc., what your main goal is. There's a ton you can change here if you want to go through all of this. I didn't want any specific alarms to wake me up or tell me to do anything just yet, but I may set those up later if I'm finding myself falling behind on water or calories or something like that. So if you want reminders to move each time, an hour passes by during the day, you can totally do that. You can set your main goal, like I said. So there's a lot you can do here. You can also add things to your display and customize it as much as you want. Now, in case you hadn't noticed, we've only been in the first icon at the bottom of the app up to this point. So let's go through some of those other ones. So this is the challenges or the adventures side of the application. They have a number of them. What I found here is that there's not a lot in my area, but there are some, and you can actually set challenges to kind of go against friends once you get some of those in here. So now here's their other side of the application. They actually give you some guidance on how to do specific workouts. So if you want some of those, you can actually use some of their videos here. It's called FitStar. The other thing is you can add friends, and then you can kind of work together at goals or have little competitions between the two of you. Some of those challenges that I showed you earlier are in concert with your friends, so that's pretty good stuff. And then of course there's the account section that you can go and you can look at a number of different things about your account. So I'm not going to go through much of that. Now moving on to Android. So like I said, you can download the exact same application. The setup is exactly the same. I checked that before, but now I'm just going to show you how easy it is to actually have an Android, say a tablet, in your home, and then go ahead and utilize that application as well. So instead of creating a new account here, I'm actually just going to log in. And once you've done that, it imports just about everything. So you only need to grant the application a few permissions here. And once you've done that, you're all ready to go. So now this, I like this interface better on the tablet. It's a little cleaner, but day to day, I'm carrying an iPhone, so that's what I'm going to be using. Now, let's look at the next day here once we get a little bit of data into this thing. So now you can see the interface has really changed. You can see a sleep schedule. You can see all my steps. You can see all the floors. You can see everywhere I've gone, how many calories I get in a day here or I've burned in a day. And you can see how much activity I've had. So this was a pretty busy day, as I'm sure you can kind of tell here, but as I roll through things, I had 9 out of 9 hours where I moved 250 steps. You can see my heart rate. You can see how much water I've been drinking, and my day's not quite over here at this point. I'm sure you can see the time at the top of the phone there, but you can see how much information actually filled in here. Now, going into the steps section here, this is the kind of data that you're actually getting. So they're logging your steps at a really granular level, and you can actually look through that data and kind of understand what you've been doing through the day. So you can see in my day I had a couple of peaks of activity. One of them was soccer, and then one of them was just working around the house a little bit actually. Now moving down, like I said, one of my favorite things here is the sleep schedule. So you can just tap on your sleep and you can actually see when you started your sleep. And I don't know how it quite figured that out because, I was laying down for a little time before I actually went to sleep, but it seems to have figured that out. But you can see your cycles where you're in the different sections of sleep, and they actually give you some information per type of sleep, and they let you know basically, here's how often you were in REM sleep, and this is what is good on average, or what most people experience. A lot of data there, a lot of things that you can learn from that, and I think that's really, really positive stuff. So then you can see your hourly activity. Hey, I got a little star there, you saw it pop. It's telling you what your longest stationary period was, how often you're active, and how often you're stationary in your day. In the heart rate section, you can see the detailed stuff again. So you can see where I was playing soccer again. My heart rate was getting up there quite far, and you can see where I was, throughout the middle of the day where I had a relatively high heart rate, a lot in the fat burning area, which is, hey, good for me. So then you can see your food, everything that I logged during the day, and whether I went over or under my allotment for calories. You can also see the macronutrient level, so you can see how much percentage of carb, fat, and protein I had, which is a nice quick breakdown just for you to see as a basis. So that's some really good data that you're getting just in the first day, and I can only imagine as we continue on here how great all of that data becomes and how important that becomes in my life. So let's move on to a new section here that we're going to do at Automate Your Life. I'm going to do a true review of the device, give it some ratings, kind of let you know what I think about the device, and then you can go ahead, you can make your decision on whether or not you want one of these. So starting out, let's talk about the technology. I'm giving it a score of 9 out of 10. The reasons really that I'm giving it this high of a score is really the fact that you're getting so many different trackers. So you're getting the heart rate, you're getting a sleep tracker, you're getting a cardio level out of this. It's got the capability of telling you when you're moving, when you're taking steps, when you're going up and down steps in your home and or out on the road, and it's got all this great integration with your iPhone, which I'll talk about in a little bit here. The battery is up to 5 days. I've kind of experienced 2 to 3 days with regular use. I like the Bluetooth communication such that I don't always have to be connected to the device for Wi-Fi. It seems to just connect really quickly by Bluetooth and then drop out whenever I use the app, which is really nice. It's allowed me to use my phone in the car on Bluetooth and still be connected to my Fitbit if I wanted it. Now, in terms of automation, we're not going to get into some of the really deep automation that you can do with something like If This Then That and or Stringify, but it should be noted that you can actually integrate with those two applications. Now, in terms of automation as well, it's a really effective heart rate tracker. It's really good at tracking your sleep and, of course, cardio and the different, levels of activity that you have. It does all of that on its own. The only thing that I've struggled with is the food or the diet section, which I told you about a little bit earlier, where you can actually struggle to find some foods. I find it a little bit clunky at times. I've had trouble clicking the UPC code at the top of the application, and I've ended up clicking done, and then I've got to go back in. So that's been a pain. But one of the most impressive things, actually, and I thought this was only going to be available on Apple Watches and devices like that, but I'm finding the app integration really powerful. And also, I should say, the integration with my iPhone really powerful. I'm receiving text messages, reminders on my watch, so calendar reminders. And that's really powerful stuff to me because now I'm getting those on my watch, even when my iPhone isn't right beside me. It can be a little ways away, and because we're communicating on Bluetooth, I'm getting those on my watch. It's showing up right away. So that's great from an automation standpoint. I don't have to go pick up my phone anymore. So in terms of integrating this kind of a device with your life, I gave it an 8 out of 10. The only reason I did that really is because it's strange to wear a watch again. And I don't know how many of you are wearing a watch, but I haven't worn a watch in years. So it's a little bit strange. And then on top of that, the food and the diet section needs a little bit of improvement, I think. I think if they really want to score, that 9 out of 10 or the 10 out of 10, I think Fitbit could do a little bit of work there. So just for those two reasons, I found it a little strange to integrate it into my life. But for the most part, what I found is the app makes it really easy to integrate in your life, and then the automation that you gain just from wearing the device is really powerful as well, and really easy to integrate into your life. So, in general, this is fantastic. I think just a little bit of work on the food diet section would do wonders for that application there. So I think most people want to know, hey, is this device worth my money? So what I'll say here is that in general, this device is worth it if you're looking to improve your fitness level. Now I am, so I'm finding great use out of this device. I would personally give it a 10 out of 10. For some people, I think it's going to be hard to integrate into their life just because it's always hard to integrate a fitness tool or fitness in general into your life. But what I'll say is this is as close as you can get with a fitness device to simply coming into your life and providing benefit without you having to do very much. So I think it's really worth it for people who are just looking to improve a little bit or make minor improvements over time. Now, on top of that, the physical device is actually very strong. It's very durable. There's no major flaws that I was able to find in many searches online. I did find some screen issues, but I also found that those were covered by Fitbit in most cases and were early in the life of your Fitbit Charge 2. The other thing is, over time, you may find that you want to change your band, as it is a fitness device and you're going to be wearing it a lot of times when you're out running around or doing weights at the gym or whatever you do for your fitness activity. The bands, I think, will wear out relatively quickly. They are incredibly inexpensive online, so you can buy them. And like I said early on in the video, I bought one for about $10. So I think that's really, really powerful stuff, and in general makes this device worth it. So overall, I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. That's a pretty high level for a fitness device. Nobody truly likes focusing on their fitness all the time, but this device is capable of a very high automation level. It out of the box is a pretty high automation level, and in the future videos here that we do, you're going to see us integrated with Stringify, and you're going to see us integrated with If This Then That, and do more there. The integration with the iPhone or Android phones is fantastic. I can't say enough about that. I love that I'm getting text messages. I love that I can see who they're from, and then I love that I can read who they're from. So that's one of the biggest benefits, actually. And funny enough, my wife won't laugh at this, but that'll be one of the reasons that I get her that. So I know that she's getting her text messages on her phone or on her watch from me. One of the reasons I took a little bit off of this device is I did have some minor issues with fitting it on my wrist. I partially blame the strap that I have for that. But the other issue is really the food log, and I've talked about that a few times. It's not terrible by any means, but it is the least automated piece of this device. I don't know how you'd improve it greatly, but I think you could improve it a little bit in terms of food recognition very quickly and searchability really quickly. So I'd like Fitbit to do that before I'm going to give it a higher ranking here. But overall, this is an extremely strong fitness device that you can use and is just as strong of an automation device. So there you have it. That's all I'm going to say here. All right, well, there you go. You're all set up with your Fitbit. You're all ready to go. Now, like I said earlier in the video, next time I'm going to start showing you how to get this device set up with some integration within your home. So that's going to be a lot of fun here. Let's see what this little device can do. I'm going to show you that next time. But for now, if you like this video, go ahead and hit a like. If not, hey, let me know why you didn't like the video. I don't mind that too. So, and of course, I always want you to go ahead and click a subscribe there. We'd love to have you on the channel. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.